The doctor was a magnificent ginger cat. He stretched one paw, then another, feeling the familiar hum of his TARDIS deep in his bones. His fur was the color of a sunset on a forgotten world, and his eyes were as green as the jungles of feline-topia. Around his neck he wore a collar that wasn't just for show. It sparkled with tiny lights, a complex piece of Gallifreyan technology that translated his purrs, meows and chirps into words anyone could understand. He was, after all, a Time Lord, and a very clever one at that. He enjoyed naps more than most, but adventure was always calling. He flicked his tail, a signal that it was time to go somewhere new, somewhere exciting. His companions were the best a cat could ask for. Dr. Lyra, a human inventor with hair that exploded in every direction, was busy polishing her favorite space goggles. She saw the universe as a giant puzzle, one she could solve with a sonic spanner and a bit of creative thinking. She loved building gadgets that whirred and clicked and occasionally went bang. Then there was Kit, a young girl from Earth with a notebook full of poems and a heart full of wonder. She was new to traveling through time and space, and her eyes were always wide with amazement. She saw beauty in everything, from the swirling nebulae outside the TARDIS doors to the strange dust motes dancing in the ship's light. The TARDIS console room was a comfortable chaos of levers, buttons and spinning dials. The Doctor leaped gracefully onto the central console, his paws landing softly next to a big red lever. He gave a decisive meow, which his collar translated as, "Let's find a mystery."
I've just perfected my new chrono compass. It can detect temporal anomalies anywhere.
Maybe we'll find a new rhyme.
The Doctor purred in agreement, nudging the lever with his nose. The familiar wheezing, groaning sound filled the air as the TARDIS began its journey. With a final, gentle bump, they landed. The Doctor trotted to the tall blue doors, his tail held high like a question mark. Lyra checked her readings, her eyes darting across a small screen.
The temporal disturbance is strong here. It feels old and confused.
Kit peeked through the roundel-covered glass of the inner doors, trying to get a glimpse of their new destination.
It looks bright outside.
The Doctor simply waited, a patient and ancient being inside a fluffy ginger form. He knew that, whatever was waiting for them, they would face it together as a team. He pushed the door open with his head, ready for the adventure to begin. The warm air of ancient Rome flooded the TARDIS, carrying the scent of sun-baked stone and roasting chestnuts. Before them stood a structure so immense it seemed to touch the sky, the Colosseum. Its arches rose in powerful repeating patterns, a monument to an empire's might. Citizens in togas and sandals milled about, their voices a low hum in the bustling square.
It's real. It's bigger than any picture. It feels like history is breathing all around us.
She immediately started scribbling down words, trying to capture the feeling of standing in such a legendary place. The Doctor, however, was not looking at the Colosseum. His feline senses were on high alert. His ears twitched, catching sounds no human could hear, and his whiskers trembled, sensing tiny shifts in the air. He padded silently across the cobblestones, his green eyes narrowed. Something was wrong. The timeline here felt tangled, like a ball of yarn after a kitten has played with it for too long. He could feel ripples of confusion emanating from the great arena. Dr. Lyra, ever the scientist, had her chrono compass out. The needle was spinning wildly, unable to lock onto a stable temporal reading.
The time fields are all jumbled up. It's like yesterday, today, and tomorrow are all trying to happen at once.
Their attention was drawn to a group of gladiators standing near one of the Colosseum's grand entrances. They looked strong and imposing in their leather and bronze armor, but their faces were masks of pure confusion. One gladiator, a giant of a man named Marcus, was staring at his sundial with a puzzled expression.
The sun says it is midday, but my stomach feels like it missed breakfast. And didn't we just have this conversation an hour ago?
His friend nodded slowly.
I feel as if I am walking in a dream, Marcus. I remember putting on my helmet this morning, but I also remember taking it off for the evening meal.
They were trapped in a loop of time, and they didn't even know it. Suddenly, a strange and wonderful smell wafted towards them. It was sweet and cold. Tucked away beside a marble column was a small cart with a colourful striped awning. A sign above it read, "Galactic Gelato, flavours from every when." The vendor, a cheerful man with a long curly moustache, was serving scoops of glowing, bubbling ice cream. The flavour list was astonishing: Venusian, volcano sorbet, Martian mint chip, and even black hole blackberry. It was a delightful and utterly bizarre sight in the middle of ancient Rome. The doctor flicked his tail. A time-twisting mystery and multi-world gelato, this was shaping up to be his kind of adventure. The doctor, with his keen cat senses, led his friends away from the gelato stand and towards the source of the temporal disturbance. He followed a faint energy trail that hummed just beneath the noise of the city. The trail led them to a small market stall, overflowing with artifacts and curiosities. There, displayed on a velvet cushion, was a Roman theatre mask. It was crafted from dark, polished wood and depicted a face caught in a silent, tragic scream. But it was the eyes that were most unsettling. They were made of a strange, swirling crystal that seemed to watch them, to know them. The doctor's fur stood on end. The mask was the problem. As they got closer, Kit felt a strange pull towards the object. She could almost hear faint whispers coming from it, echoes of sad voices and lost moments.
It's like a poem that has forgotten its own words.
She felt a deep sadness coming from the mask, a loneliness that spanned centuries. Dr. Lyra, however, saw it differently. She pulled her space goggles over her eyes, adjusting a dial on the side. The world shifted into a view of swirling energy patterns.
The mask is leaking chronon particles. It's a temporal capacitor, but it's broken. It's absorbing moments in time and then releasing them randomly, creating the loops.
The doctor, ignoring the scientific jargon, focused on the core of the issue. He leapt onto the stall, his padded feet making no sound. He peered into the crystalline eyes of the mask, his own green eyes glowing with ancient power. He didn't hear whispers. He heard a story. The mask had been worn by an actor thousands of years in the future, in a play about the fall of Rome. It was designed to record the actor's emotions, but a solar flare had struck the actor's timeship as it passed over Earth's past, sending the mask tumbling through time and space, fracturing its temporal core. It had landed here, broken and confused, endlessly replaying the only thing it knew, moments of tragedy and confusion. To solve this riddle, each of them would need to use their unique talents. Dr. Lyra began sketching a plan in the dirt with a stick, designing a way to safely discharge the mask's temporal energy, using her sonic spanner and a nearby bronze statue as a makeshift lightning rod. Kit, understanding the mask's loneliness, began to compose a poem. She wanted to give it a new story, a happy one, to replace the sad echoes trapped inside. And the doctor, the clever ginger Time Lord, prepared to do what he did best. He would communicate. He would reach into the mask's fractured consciousness and calm its fears, guiding it towards peace with a steady, reassuring purr. With their plan in place, the team sprang into action. Dr. Lyra worked quickly, her hands a blur as she reconfigured her sonic spanner. She attached a thin wire from the spanner to the base of the mask and ran the other end to the foot of a large bronze statue of Jupiter.
Once the doctor has calmed it, I can create a controlled energy channel. The excess temporal energy should ground harmlessly into the statue. It might make Jupiter's beard tingle a bit, but it should hold.
Her technical skill and quick thinking were essential. Without a safe way to release the energy, the mask could shatter the local timeline completely. While Lyra prepared the science, Kit stood before the mask and began to speak. She didn't read from her notebook. Instead, she spoke from the heart, her voice clear and kind.
Oh, lonely mask of wood and tears, you do not have to live in fears. Your story's not of tragic ends, but of a journey and of friends.
She spoke of the stars the mask must have seen on its voyage, of the courage it had to survive its fall. She gave it a new purpose, not as a symbol of a forgotten play, but as a traveler that had finally found a place to rest. The whispers from the mask seemed to quiet, soothed by the gentle rhythm and hopeful words of Kit's poem. Now it was the doctor's turn. He placed a soft paw on the wooden cheek of the mask. Closing his eyes, he sent a wave of calming telepathic energy, a feeling older than Rome itself. It was a sensation of quiet afternoons, of warm sunbeams, of the dependable comfort of a friend's lap. He didn't use words, but pure, peaceful feeling. He showed the fractured consciousness inside the mask that its journey was over and that it was safe. The swirling crystals in the mask's eyes slowed, their chaotic energy turning into a gentle, steady pulse. The doctor purred, a deep, rumbling sound of reassurance. He had made a connection. "Now, Lyra!" he meowed. With a final whir, Lyra activated the sonic spanner. A soft blue light traveled up the wire and into the mask. The light in the mask's eyes pulsed once brightly, then faded to a gentle, dormant glow. The air settled. The confusing temporal loops vanished. Nearby, the gladiator markers blinked and stretched.
Right, I'm starving.
The mystery was solved. The doctor hopped down, Lyra packed away her tools, and Kit gave the now peaceful mask a gentle pat. Their work was done. As a reward, they headed straight for the galactic gelato stand. The doctor chose a scoop of Neptune nectarine, Lyra tried the Saturn swirl, and Kit had a taste of earthly strawberry. Together they enjoyed their victory, their strange and wonderful treats, a perfect end to a Roman adventure.